Alright, it's day 130. It's just 3 days after the previous episode in this series. And as you can see, there's already a big problem. So I was shocked as to how everything looked fine on day 127. And by day 130, this lemon seedling sort of has this unhealthy yellowish green look to it and has wilted over. So by the time you see something like that, you basically know in the bottom of your heart that it's over. When plants do that, there's really no rescuing. You can't blow dry the dirt or unscrew the situation. So this footage has been shown to you already in my Pineapple Crown pilot episode covering days 0 through 88. And I thought, since they share the same pot, maybe this global treatment with just some crushed up vitamins and fertilizer might help, because that's something I've been doing over the last 2 years, if you followed this channel, just to provide supplementation for things like calcium carbonate and trace metals, elements, and whatnot. It's not really actually for the vitamins. So I'm just scooping in some fertilizer, then I'll wash it all down, and hopefully that'll help. But I really knew that it wouldn't rescue the situation with that lemon seedling. So that's basically why this episode has, like in my other episodes, where I either cut things short, literally, or there's a failure and I just write finale in all caps, just to let you know that that's the end, because I don't want people asking 2 or 3 years later, what happened to that plant. So day 85 of the lemon series, going back in time, is day 69 of the turmeric series. So this is a very long, drawn-out episode with a lot of failure footage. And I know that's not very exciting to show you what happened with some of these other series and what's going on my balcony. So in December 2017, I basically cleaned house. This is earlier. This is on October 25th. So I have a bag of wild dirt, and I'm showing you what happened to the turmeric series. I had a pilot episode days 0 through 14 where I germinated everything in a Ziploc bag with hydrogen peroxide, a very mild solution to keep everything sterile. And I got green shoots, but I couldn't progress when I tried to transplant 3 of those. So I thought maybe the potting mix is too dry. These shoots come out of the base of these buds, much like ginger rhizomes in earlier years, so I figured it just needs to be kept moist around the base of that bud where a root can come out. And I did have roots here, but unfortunately I just couldn't go anywhere with this series. That happens a lot on this channel. Hope you can understand. Apologies for all of these failures, but that's realistically what happens with a lot of people, I think. Maybe that's part of the appeal of my channel, because all these other growing channels I see, they don't feature failure. They only feature success, and typically they have a house and a giant hoarder's garden just full of all these plants, and they only talk about the success and not really about the details, and they don't have this kind of video diary, so to speak, on the experience of the progressions you'll see when you try to grow these things, and none of the nitty-gritty really. It's just mostly talking head videos. So I don't really show my face or body during most of these videos. I think it's just better to let people have a close-up view in high resolution of what's actually going on, instead of just facing me and showing my head talking for like 15, 20, 30 minutes. So I decided to try to plow through with this, but unfortunately it didn't work out. I'll show you some other failures too, but Happy New Year, by the way. It's 2018. I filmed all of this in the waning months of fall and early winter in 2017. So basically there's been a lot of changes throughout the years at YouTube. I would say the change is almost a constant, or maybe the only constant, in that every time they change the rules, a bunch of people get flustered and start complaining on the internet, and that's no exception in 2017. But there was a big upheaval about them using machine learning algorithm to determine what was suitable for advertisers, I think in August 2017. And basically, that affected a lot of channels. Entire genres went bust, and there was no real way to appeal these algorithms. They just don't have the manpower to manually screen anything. My channel may soon be big enough, have more than 10,000 subscribers, so that I may be able to appeal any wrongful decisions they make. But definitely that's a factor, the monetization of the ads. And my channel has actually done fairly well, complaining and all, despite all that, because I think I took a share of the pie from all those other channels that went bust, or at least all the content you see today is basically more advertiser friendly, and lots of people have went away from YouTube. So this is day 85 of the Lemon series. It's day 64 of another avocado germination attempt. One of the things that happened in 2017 was somebody convinced me to try to get the social media angle to work again. I don't think that really works, to be honest. The Facebook page doesn't have that many likes, but I know for years to come people will see those videos where it tells them to like my Facebook and Instagram and whatever. So this is an avocado where this is actually the second time where I dug it out. The seed was very beautiful and had this red wood-like sheen to it, on the seed coat at least in the beginning, but now it kind of looks gross. It just looks all blackened after being buried in the dirt for that long. So I broke off the root trying to excavate before, and then I planted it back, and as you can see it grew out of a fork there, and I broke a further down root tip again this time. So I was pretty upset at the whole process, but at the same time the top was exposed after all those weeks of watering, and I tried to get some wild dirt in there to seed in some microbes, form a better, more natural moisture seal, but ultimately none of this worked. The shoot just wouldn't come out. It was cracked at the top of the seed, but nothing came out. So yeah, this is just my generalized thoughts on 2018 going forward video, in addition to showing you a cleanup, a wrap-up of all these failed series at the end of 2017. So yeah, I've seen a fair bit of growth for my channel in 2017. I've managed to maintain interest going into the waning months of summer, fall, and towards the end of the year. Typically, plant growing channels suffer in those months and suffer very long malaise or decline. And I had that stretch in 2017 July where I released at first like videos every day, but I found that to be unsustainable, so I'm back to a more normal schedule. But I definitely look forward to getting more content out in 2018. It seems like people have a big interest in avocado germination. I have a compilation video of my avocado series, the first one, and it's done pretty well. That was a series in 2016. So as you can see, things failed in 2017 here. I tried to get this nice beautiful seed to germinate, but it wouldn't. I didn't do the conditions that I did in 2016. So that happens a lot. There are a lot of failures for my balcony, and a lot of unseen footage that gets cut out like this typically, until I decide to show it to you one day. So that's basically what's going on. It's not that I'm not doing anything. It's just that there's a lot of failure sometimes, and that can come in waves, and depending on the weather and what I'm doing, maybe I'm overwatering everything altogether. So the channel's actual prosperity in terms of all the content I can generate, it comes and goes in waves, and sometimes I see more success, and other times everything goes bust at once. So it's definitely not for lack of will to produce new videos. It's just sometimes everything goes bust and dies off. And then I have literally nothing to show you, or nothing that would interest people anyway. I'm sure tons of people are just bored looking at this failure footage already. And most people just like to see the beginning of a plant growing series, not the end. So this is day 151. Fast forwarding to the very end of December. This is December 30th, 2017. So as you can see, after another, 24 days, everything's gone. That one leaf fell off at the end of the last episode. That's actually green, which is surprising. I left that in there because I wanted to see if it could root and turn into a new plant. I know that's really wishful thinking, but for some reason that leaf can stay green, whereas everything that stayed attached to the stem is yellow. So I'm just going to pull that out. It seems like there's a bit of green down there, but I think we all know from experience that's not going to turn into anything, so it's just gone. So it's better to just move on. Seems like people like avocado growing. At Trader Joe's, for example, I saw cheap bags of avocados, smaller ones too, but the smaller seeds might be more manageable. But yeah, that would be a way to, say, get 6 seedlings germinating at once. I don't like this whole inadvertent one seedling per series phenomenon that I've got going on, because this trend is just something where failure is can't be tolerated. It's just there's no margin for error if you just have one thing going on. So there's no prickly pear cactus germination from the sinkhole left by the fruit. When I started that, it was quite warm. It was maybe late summer, and no, maybe it was fall. But after all that watering, the fruit rotted away and there's nothing left. So this is day 135 for the Turmeric series. I couldn't get this thing to progress. Again, I'm sorry, that just happens a lot on my channel. I'm not an expert like many of you are. I receive really good advice from most of you. And, you know, there's no way I can replicate necessarily what you've got going on. But I think people like watching my channel for what it is, just being honest with failure and showing in gory details like what happens at every step of the way. So these basically died at one point. There were a few heat waves in this very anomalous year in terms of weather in San Diego. This is San Marcos, actually, in California. In 2017, even in October, we had this heat wave where there were a few 100-degree days, and that's actually when these sprouts sort of went yellow and brown and all activity ceased. Likewise with my mango plant, the seedling, which is still alive and should be resuscitated for 2018 because it's got a new crop of leaves coming in. That basically saw many burned leaves after this brutal heat wave in October, which I'm sure nothing was really ready for in this plant community. And then there was a fairly hot stretch of 90-degree days in November, and this has been a very dry December, although that doesn't really matter because I'm doing all the watering. So I think a warm winter actually works to my advantage for this balcony growing. So this is day 130 for this second avocado germination attempt. It looked like that sprout was going to do something for a while, but it never did. And I don't really get why either. I don't think it was overwatering, I'm not sure. But for whatever the cause is, it's just over. It's easier to start off with many more seeds and perhaps try an indoor sterile environment growing a germination scenario on top of some warm electronic surfaces where I can monitor the temperature and whatnot and not have the temperature fluctuate like crazy. So I think in 2018 I'll try to get a series going for avocado again with many seeds. I'll have to wait for the weather to get a little bit warmer. It's currently January, so it's cold, the days are short, and as you can see, this passion fruit has shed leaves all over the place. I'm looking to trim that back too because it's got a lot of unproductive growth that almost never sees any sun these days. So that pretty much concludes my thoughts going into 2018. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have a lot more new content out pretty soon, since I have 2 new pots freed up. So thanks for watching. Have a happy new year, and please subscribe and keep coming back to my channel.